Sorry, we're recording. Good morning and welcome to Across the Desk. And we are continuing with our Riff Raff podcast. And so today we are the three pirates. Sydney Elaine Butler. What would your pirate name be, Sydney?
You see, I think I thought about this more as a child, but I haven't thought about it recently. Um, I don't know.
Let's process.
Yeah, let's process. I would be a captain for sure.
Yeah,
But
yes,
name, I'll process that and get back to you.
okay. And good morning, Paul.
Good morning.
And what do you think your pirate name might be?
Nothing I can say. It comes to
We're
mind.
going off PG.
I don't know. I don't know.
That is fair. I don't either, but I do have a stripper name and I do have an alter ego name that I feel like could translate into a potential pirate name. So I'm going to share that and then we'll see how the conversation goes. We do have an actual topic, folks, but sometimes we go a little offbeat. So my alter ego's name is Lola Dazzlebomb. And that is the mean lady that comes out and gives me a hard time sometimes.
I've met her.
I know. Some folks have. Some folks have. But my goal for that, and it's a tool that we used in Employment Works, was that mean voice that comes out periodically and gives you a hard time and calls you names or says, what were you thinking or whatever. I'm like, but that's not at my core who I am. I have moments. I think we all have moments. I mean, Paul's going to have a moment in a few minutes and Lola might come out to play. So we'll see what happens. We can blame Lola. But that, I feel like that I could pirate that name just a little bit. We'll figure it out. But speaking of identities, what we are coming into today is part 2 of our conversation on what it means to be neurodivergent. And in our last podcast, it was an opportunity for you to meet the team. We are missing a pirate today. And I don't remember Maddie's. I thought Maddie had created like an alternate name situation. I feel like I don't remember.
You'd have to ask them.
So they are off hobnobbing in Vancouver with the National Autism Network. They are on the board for that organization, and their focus during their visit there is building governance on the board and leadership opportunities and all kinds of great stuff. So, kisses to Maddie. And they will be joining us next week. Right now, it is 6:00 in the morning in Vancouver, which is a bit of a big ask for somebody. So that's why we have a posse of pirates. Is it a posse?
I don't think so.
You are the keeper of pirate lore.
I know, but I was like, that doesn't sound right.
Doesn't sound right. It could be a mob.
It's also early, 9:00 in the morning.
That's fair. 9:00. I
was
was going to make
Without troubling.
tell me you're autistic without telling me you're autistic. 9:00's early. I'm just saying. So that's another conversation. What we jumped into last week was each of our own stories about being neurodivergent, what that looks like, how it shows up for us. And we want to reiterate, probably in every podcast possible, if somebody can remind me, that your experience with being neurodivergent is your experience with being neurodivergent. And what we share and how we're impacted and what that looks like is unique to each of us. Like, not in a snowflakey way, but in a, everybody's got different fingerprints. Everybody's got different brains. So whatever we say, I hope it resonates. I hope there's something to be learned out of it, but please don't take it that we are saying that this is everybody's story. There's nodding if you're just listening. The other folks.
Nodding, and so now I think I have an answer for your. Is it a posse? I think it's called a crew. Just called a crew. Pirate crew.
A pirate crew. Okay, that's true.
I was like, I think I was overthinking it before.
You can overthink on your pirate name, so that's that's.
Yes.
So we're the crew. We're the Riff Raff crew. And what we talked about last time were the diagnoses that we tend to focus on because we have lived experience for those. I happen to be ADHD. Sydney?
Autistic. It was a
Are we
question.
stopping there?
There's more, but I'm just gonna leave it there for now, and then we can.
Alrighty.
What is Mr. Dress Up?
Yes.
Woohoo.
My daughter got me. Okay, if you're not watching the video, my daughter a couple of years ago, I have a real crush on Mr. Dress Up, Ernie Coombs. And growing up, that show came on, and I don't know what it was. It's his creativity, like whatever it was, but I was watching Mr. Dress Up well into my 20s. If I was ill, you know those days where you're on the sofa and you just can't function? I'm not talking on the regular, but
Yeah.
you need some comfort. Mr. Dress Up was it. And I happen to live just outside of Toronto, just outside of the main CBC studio for Ontario. And in the CBC studio is Mr. Dress Up's tree. And I can't tell you the number of pictures I have in my albums of me hugging Mr. Dress Up's tree. It's slightly scary. Anyway, so ADHD, autism, Mr. Coleman.
ADHD. On paper.
Now, I'm giving Paul a winky eyeball because we are moving into today about the positives of late diagnosis.
Yes.
What masking looked like moving up to that. And I have to put Mr. Dress Up down. I got so excited. I kept my mug up. It's giving me, anyway. And the interesting process that happens when we start to recognize that perhaps we have more than one set of letters after our name and the impact on us. So, Sydney, do you want to start sharing your story about diagnosis and what that looked like for you in the process?
Well, so it was because I was diagnosed young, but then it was kind of like not re-diagnosed, but just like confirming it.
Yeah.
And so I was originally diagnosed when I was 6 years old. I had a lot of speech difficulties. I couldn't say my R's properly, walking on my tippy toes, and my parents always tried to advocate on my behalf. And then, but didn't all these different things, and would get those accommodations. And going to speech therapy, I had to go to physiotherapy to help with walking on my tippy toes, and they could get tight calf muscles.
Yep.
But they're like, I was told the diagnosis, and then I had other classmates that were boys that I knew were on the autism spectrum, and I was like, but I don't act like them. So I was like in the constant, and I wanted to help them. I saw that they were struggling, and so I would step in and help them. I kind of talked about this in other podcasts that we've done so far, but it really is a core part of my identity, so that's why I keep bringing it up. And understanding that I was just like sometimes I feel like I got the diagnosis but didn't really know how that was impacting me directly. And then years later I would try to unmask them knowing that terminology. So I would exhibit those traits that were just me. I thought I was just being myself and be like, sometimes I couldn't be my whole self or be parts of myself. So I was like, I'm just gonna not be me.
Which is so hard.
Yeah, and so I always say in high school in particular, I felt like I was a chameleon. So I would hang out with the burnouts, the jocks, the nerds. I didn't have one place. I would be a theater kid and hang with the theater kids, and I didn't have a set place of identity. I just knew these were all parts of me. And I remember coming home from school extra drained than other classmates. And I was like, is anyone else is tired after school?
Yeah.
But it's because I was trying to blend in and masking in different, like for everyone.
Yep.
And then actually started so my school was attached to another school called Park Home, which is for kids with teenagers with disabilities, and started volunteering there. My drama teacher actually helped us integrate students in that school into our drama programs, into our plays and our skits, and all these different things. And then I started working at my local rec center, working with kids, teens, and adults with disabilities. that as described as neurodivergent, or having physical disabilities or other disabilities. And this was like, I was working with a lot of autistic children and a lot of autistic girls included. And I was like, I saw myself in them. And they're just like, what is going on? And then it's like, I remember I was my mom saves everything that I've ever done and has it in the big bin. And so I went searching, and it's like, yes, I have this diagnosis, but again, I didn't know what it meant. And was then like, okay, what does it actually mean? What does it mean for me? And what is it going to mean for when I now go into post-secondary? When I am trying to, I studied in my post-secondary for human resources, and at the same time becoming more aware of who I am. And it was just such a journey of recognizing all the things I've dealt with all my life and really coming to terms with that, and what support could I actually need to thrive in this world that's not always accommodating for me. And I am so used to accommodating others.
And that's a huge, thank you. That was amazing. And it's a huge distinction when you start to realize that the way you show up in the world doesn't need an apology.
Mm-hmm.
And why things are challenging. So I was similar in high school, or I mean, my mom would disagree. I was a huge social butterfly in public school and high school. So always flitting around. We'd go on vacation. I'd make new friends in a second. Like, that's never been a challenge. But the long-term maintenance of some of those relationships, because now I have friends going back 45 years and longer, right? So don't get me wrong. I'm good on the friend side. However, either my high energy level or my lack of filter, or something would become too much for people. Totally fair. Or my tolerance for bullshit would show up, or my intolerance for bullshit. And I do not have the ability, never have, never will, have no desire to be okay with certain behaviors. The challenge in ADH land is that it shows up on my face like super fast. So if I think you're not a pleasant word, or somehow there's, something. So if you can't see the video right now, everybody
is in agreement.
And Paul's trying very hard not to do a full smile because, they want to be supportive. But yeah, it shows up on my face instantly. If I think you're an idiot, or I think you've said something that requires some thought, or like whatever that is, or if I'm really pissed off, right here.
Yep.
And that's been a huge issue. And I always thought it was something that was wrong with me versus a reflection of what was going on in my life at the time. Because I think anybody's ability to navigate is impacted by how many spoons they've got to show up with. Right. And not even masking necessarily, but just sometimes it's not okay to let F off show off on your face. It's just not polite. So, Paul, what would you say around masking and recognizing and all that good stuff?
So in my career, I've done a lot of public speaking. I've done a lot of training. Like, that's a lot of what I do. And I always thought everybody was exhausted after being in social situations that are,
people are hard.
Being around people, I thought everybody would go home and be exhausted from that. And if I have a public speaking event, or I'm doing some training, I need downtime after that, because it drains me, because of what I've come to learn is the masking that I'm doing while I'm there. But one of the biggest things about adult diagnosis, or late realization, however you want to put it,
late recognition,
it's just I like myself more. I give myself
I
give myself more freedom, and I don't blame myself for a lot of things. A huge thing in my life is object permanence. If you ask me, use my pantry downstairs as an example. If you ask me, do we have any canned tomatoes? I can tell you how many canned tomatoes we have and what area, what shelf they're on and where, right? It's not that I'm an organizer. I just remember where everything is. Hey, one of my kids, can you go get me the ketchup out of the fridge? It's on the top shelf, third from the back. Like, I will just know that. But I'll be damned if I can remember where I put my keys. And that, for my entire life, has bothered me, that I can put something down and 2 seconds later I have no idea where I put it. And I always get mad at myself for that.
Mm-hmm.
And since I realized, okay, it's just how my brain works, I now consciously, and you'd think I would have done this earlier in my life, but I consciously make some sort of connection with where I'm putting something. Or,
yes.
Or, I purposely will put it away instead of putting it down. There's certain things that I've now, I guess before I would put it down and go, I'll remember where I put that.
Said every ADHD brain
I didn't want to accept the fact that my brain just wouldn't pick that up without some sort of other cue to it, right? So now if I put something down, I'll repeat to myself where I put it. I'll say it out loud. I put that down here on the edge of the cutting board or whatever, and then it'll place itself. So there's little things that once I was able to accept that this is just how my brain worked, instead of expecting it to work normally, or what I need, right? Yeah.
Air quotes. It frees up energy.
It just became an acceptance, and then the tools start working because I'm willing to use them now, because for whatever reason I now believe it.
But there's a part of neurodivergence, and not everybody has this, and it part of it was my team helping me realize this, and part of it was, there's a name for that. I have a version, if you will, of pathological demand avoidance. So it's not extreme. Yeah. Look at their faces. People are not kind.
No, I have terrible task avoidance.
Yeah. So, or it's the there's another version of it. It's a version of demand avoidance. So it's not that, I'll throw chairs if you ask me to put stuff away. But if I'm told to do something in a certain way, and I think we briefly touched on this in our first podcast, I have a really intense reaction sometimes that not everybody can see. I'm getting much better at not doing it, but my immediate response was, F you. Don't tell me to do, and there's nothing about that person. There's nothing about what they did. Or if somebody tells me that I have to do it a certain way and it's dumb, I will find every reason possible to not do it that way. Case in point, taxes. I hate paying taxes. Hate it. And I hate and I agree with them, and I support them, and they do wonderful things. And I've been educated because of taxes. I've had 5 surgeries because of taxes. So I'm on board. I'm not dodging anything. I pay my share. But at the end of the day, when you're the one directly earning the money, there's no middleman, there's no employer, there's no nothing. It's just you. And then you have to give half of that away. It's really hard. So I have found every way possible. And it never works, folks. That's the other side, is that it's never worked. I still have to pay the damn taxes.
Yeah.
I've just made it harder on myself by trying to circumvent being told that I have to do it a certain way. So my poor accountant, I had a conversation with her the other day. And so both Sydney and Paul are entrepreneurs. Maddie is as well. So they understand what I'm about to say, because we have to invoice. Like, it doesn't run like a normal situation, right? And so my accountant says to me, Elizabeth, we have to make you an employee of the company, and you have to, it was the have to. You have to pay yourself through payroll, and you have to do this and you have to do that. I've had my back up for 2 years because that's how it was put to me. 2 years, people, is what my ADHD brain went, nope, I'm going to find a way around that. And no, that's not the case. Still paying the freaking taxes, and I finally let it go. And my accountant said to me on Monday, she says, I can hear a difference in your voice around this. But back in the day, before I knew, before I did research, before I whatever, it made me a very angry person. And for me, anger simmers at the surface for me all the time. You know that scene in Marvel Avengers? And it's
I feel like I know exactly what you're going to say.
I think you do. And the aliens are attacking, and Hulk shows up on the motorbike, and he says Bruce Banner, and you know, they said to him, like, what's your secret to turning into the Hulk? And he looks at them and he says, remember when you asked me how I get angry? And he says, I'm always angry. And then beats the crap out of the big worm alien thing. And that's legitimate. I am angry.
I feel like that used to be my baseline. Now I'm less angry.
I'm less angry too.
But it's like, officially as what apparently getting angry, like we as women, we usually suppress our anger, and it's not good for us. So it's like, I feel like in the anger, it's like how are you using that anger? Is it constructive anger? And I think even like you both just mentioned, and thank you for, like, it's just like there's so much shame, or you have so much self anger, but once you actually start to understand yourself, and it's like you can kind of release some of that anger and really like pull out the tools we're doing to actually, it's like, okay, this is on the table, this is where it is. You can just doing those tools for yourself is so important, and kind of losing that shame that you had for so long. And I think that's why it's so important to getting to know yourself and getting to know how you best work.
Yeah.
Neurodivergent or not, right?
I never connected that. Thank you for that. I never connected that before, that I was mad all the time because I was probably anticipating me screwing something up.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like either misunderstanding something, or skipping something, or finding something in my notebook that I should have done last week, or whatever that is. And then I get mad at myself because why can't I follow a process? And I have all these tools, which I do. I mean, folks, I'm functioning. Like, don't be afraid. I run a technology company. I run an not-for-profit. I have a husband and two kids. There's food in the cupboard. I got a, we're good. I'm not running around half naked and whatever. Well, it could be a thing. I could share the Vegas story. Sydney knows the Vegas story. It wasn't me. Somebody else was running around and looked to be half naked.
Oh,
like, what happened? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
You're not wrong. I did not get up to no good in Vegas. That's not my. Like, there have been times in my life where that's been a problem, but that was not one of them. I really appreciate that connection, Sydney, because I hadn't put that together before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because I struggle now to identify with shame, because I live my life in a way that creates minimal opportunity for shame. I don't lie. I say what I say. If you ask me to do something, I'm going to do it. There's never any below board activity. I won't work with companies or partners that behave below board, because I don't want anybody to ever associate me or my company or my team with below board behavior, because that's a hard no. And I've dealt with family members who have made different choices, and I'm like, I don't want anybody ever thinking about me the way I think about them or the people that behave below board.
I saw this quote It's like I didn't grow up with role models. I grew up with people in situations I didn't want to be in.
That's so good.
And I was just like, when I first saw that, I was like, ow. How I was like, but 'cause it's so true.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes that's more the motivator than having, the role model. It's like sometimes it's like I don't want to be in the same situation that you're in.
I don't ever want anybody to thinking about me and go, that's not somebody I trust, or that's not somebody I would ever work
Yeah.
with, or that's not somebody I feel safe with. Best compliment I've had in the last 2 years is when folks who come out to board games night or come out to Job Lab or come out to an event or whatever, and I just had this happen last week. Bless Paul.
Excuse me.
They came out and they were involved in an activity that we were doing, and we ended up having a talk after. And they shared that was the first time they'd walked into a group of people that they didn't know. And within a very short period of time, they felt safe and felt they could be themselves and felt like, and I had to sit there and process that for a minute. Because I have grown up being the person told that the example I always use, I use a lot of movie, I watch a lot of movies. So I use a lot of movie examples. If you've ever seen How to Train Your Dragon, and the dad gestures at Hiccup, the son, who doesn't want to kill dragons and whatever. And he says, you need to change this. And Hiccup looks at him and he says, you just gestured to all of me. And that's pretty much my entire life. It was somebody gesturing to all of me going, you can't be like that. So one of the things that we wanted to also discuss is how diagnoses can change as we age. So we can either get more, we kind of collect them like buttons.
I was just say like Pokemon.
Or like pick your favorite, whatever. Like,
float your boat.
If you want to think of them as Pokemon, that's okay too, because diagnoses can change, right? What's Paul's having a giggle.
I got emotional dysregulation of Saurus.
We need to create a graphic for that. Emotional.
Need it, got it. Need it, got it.
That needs to be a shirt. I went to the doctor's office and all the doctors.
Oh my god! Saurus? What's the other endings for dinosaurs? Like we could do that.
Oh, Pokemon. I don't know.
I don't know. So I consistently lose my neurodivergent card because somebody will mention some kind of whatever. And I'm like, I have no fucking clue what that is. I know Pokemon. I know Pikachu because I bought Jason, who's a member of our team, a Pikachu hat because they were collecting Pokemon for a while. Beyond that,
I have my favorite Pokemon back there.
Yeah, see? No clue.
You can't see it right now.
I mean, I think everybody knows Pikachu, but I know Snorlax because I feel like it's my spirit animal.
Snorlax?
Snorlax.
That makes so much. I can see that, Paul. I can see that. It was just, who are you talking to? I have no context.
I have no clue. By the way, we do drop the odd F-bomb, and right now we're dropping because I have no freaking clue. Snorlax?
The royal we there, hey?
Shut up. You're not wrong. According to sources that are credible, swearing shows that you are honest and trustworthy and have a high intellect. I'm not sure who came up with that. I feel like it was somebody who needed an excuse to swear a lot, but there actually have been studies done because individuals who, I am not endorsing, flagrant cussing, well-placed, hey now, well-placed. And I also will warn the team ahead of time if we're going into a meeting that it's going to be a lot of Fs because something has happened, and that's just the way I express myself. But yeah, I think that's what I tell myself, is that it's a sign that I'm smart. It's not. So as we've aged and gotten to a certain what did I call it? A level in life, but it had to do with gaming. Oh, I've lost
Experience?
it. No. It was a gaming reference. Like I'm at level 55 in life, for an example, right? Because that's where I'm at. It's a game. That's as close as I can get to gaming. I don't know anything about gaming. I play Wordle. I don't know if that earns me points, but I play Wordle.
I had to help my dad with Wordle.
Paul's looking very confused.
I just realized I just passed level 58 then.
You did.
That hurts.
Why? That's amazing. Sydney's at level
28, going to level 29.
Yeah. Maddie just
trade you.
No. God, no. Okay, so no. So Maddie just reached level 50, which they've been public about. So I am so much more comfortable in my skin now. I am so much more comfortable with who I am. I am so much more available to help others and not be judgy and whatever else, because I've been through it.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to be judged and dismissed. I know what it's like to have people make assumptions. I know what it's like to people. So I would not take my 20s again, other than the fact that I got married and had kids and graduated college. Those were great. The rest of it sucked. High school sucked. The level of suckage in high school was, I did not understand it. I didn't understand people. I didn't understand why shoes were so important. I didn't get being judged because I didn't get an alligator on my shirt. I didn't understand the social exchanges in some areas. Because none of those things mattered to me.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
Sydney, did you get the alligator on your shirt reference?
I was like, I think I did, but then I'm like,
That's a level 50 and up club.
I don't even remember the brand, but was it
Izod?
Izod? I thought it was Lacoste.
Izod's the alligator.
I don't know. People get.
I thought Lacoste.
Lacoste is. Wait.
We're having a rabbit moment here, folks. Hang on.
Sorry, I gotta look it up later.
Okay, so the alligator reference is back in the day. Paul, you are edging closer and closer to the conversation that you don't want to have. I'm just saying that it's happening. The alligator on the shirt is just essentially a reference to a brand that was highly important at the time. And there were people at the high school I was at who would judge the heck out of you if you didn't have, right? So,
well, that happened to me in middle school. There was like the Victoria's Secret brand, pink, whatever.
Yeah.
Like was the TNA. I'm just like, and they're like, you know how? And this is bag that everyone wanted. It was like super expensive. I'm like,
did you just say TNA?
Yeah.
So Paul and I are of a vintage where TNA stands for tits and ass.
No, but everyone made that joke too.
Okay.
With that bag. That was the brand. And everyone had this bag and the thing was other clothes around it. And I'm just like, no, I'm just going to get my clothes from Giant Tiger.
Well, so that whole fitting in thing, my attempt at fitting in high school was penny loafers were a huge deal. They were called Baswegians. And it was this, you had to have this brand and there was a color and there was the whole thing. And I got so fed up with not fitting in that I was like, all right, maybe I'll stick my stake in the ground on this one. And I begged my parents. These were expensive shoes, folks. So this is back in 1985 or 6 or 7. Like it was like mid 80s. Mm-hmm. And back then they were $65 shoes, $85 shoes, which doesn't sound expensive, except if you do for inflation and whatever, that's like a $400 pair of shoes. It's huge. And so that was not something that was on board in our house, only because potentially I was still growing and that was a lot of money on a pair of shoes. I managed to negotiate with my parents. I paid half, they paid the other half. These were the single most uncomfortable shit shoes. And I tried for like a week And then I just went, this is dumb. This is so, like, why are people walking around in these massively uncomfortable shoes just so people will like them? And I never wore them again.
We had a shoe like that. Is it called Tom?
Oh, Tom's is still a thing, but they are also very uncomfortable. But that's,
Yeah, that was a huge equivalence. It's like, no.
but how many people, neurodivergent or otherwise, use that as a form of masking, that's a way to fit in or find connection or whatever, and live in misery with either tags in the back of their shirts or like whatever your sensory issue might be, or wear the uncomfortable shoes. That's, folks, that's what masking is wearing uncomfortable shoes that you know are uncomfortable, but you need to fit in. And so you will put up with the blisters so that other folks will get along with you. And we're trying to encourage you to put on some fluffy moccasins, because life's too short for uncomfortable shoes.
Just wear the Dr. Scholl's. Or the Hush Puppies, depending on your age.
Like, whatever, you know, I love Vans, like whatever floats your boat. But masking comes down to, like, what would you say, Sydney, is a couple of the top things that you might have chosen to mask, or how did you mask them? We can come back if you need to process.
Yeah, I think I know, but like I'm just like that's a big question.
It is a big question. It is.
Come back to me.
Okay. So Paul, you kindly shared a story this morning that I would say
The evil laugh.
Alpha laugh. And it isn't so much about why it was happening, but it was a mask, right? And so Paul is fantastic at doing interviews. They didn't think they were, but they are. And you put out a video today, which I watched, which was great, by the way. And I want to take the course. We'll share details about that later. What got brought to your attention?
Well, I don't know if it's masking so much as recognizing, like, okay, so I noticed in the video that even though it's a camera, I break eye contact all the time. Like, I cannot stare in the lens. It makes me, I have to look away. So,
which is a common neurodivergent trait, by the way, folks.
Yeah, and I can't tell how much I do that when I'm talking to somebody. But when the camera replaces somebody's eyes and now I can go back and rewatch it, you realize how much you do, like some of the things that you do that are just normal to you, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I call that mask. I guess that would be masking if I was forcing myself.
But you do on a regular, right? That's my point.
I guess, that would be something, I guess. The other things are like the invention of fidgets are the greatest thing ever. I'll tell you, Elizabeth pointed out, the fact that I was clicking a pen or clicking. My first fidget was very, very loud. I've got a new one that's a pen top.
You can fidget the shit out of that. You ever bring that stupid pocket clicky thing again, Lola's gonna come out to play.
And that's where I think I first met Lola.
Lola had a moment.
But it's so calming. I now get Nido. Do you know what Nido is? So I get Nido as a regular gift from my kids for Christmas and birthdays and stuff.
I have thinking
hard to buy for, I guess, but now I'm gaining a collection of Nido. Yeah.
Yeah, I have thinking putty.
It's amazing though how much I can focus in a meeting though when I have a fidget of some sort. That the click really helps me, but I have to,
And this is where we accommodate Lola, because Lola will come out to play. Lola can't handle it. So my thing, I am 100%. We have actually for Employment Works, I put together a bin of a variety of fidgets. I have another one. It's not on my desk right now. It's a Hulk head where you squish it and the eyes pop out. And what I tried to do in the bin, and Sydney and I went shopping, and because I appreciated their lens, because I don't traditionally use fidgets. Like I get them. This is a little fidget. What the heck is this? It's like a ferret that my daughter got for me. Paul, by the way, does 3D printing. So if you're interested, so it has texture. It has a whole bunch of stuff. It's been hanging on my office wall. But I do recognize that there are times, especially if I'm struggling to focus, that I need something. So we had a giant bin. It had soft stuff. It had, what was the cube thing, Sydney? Is that Nido?
Yeah, it was Nido.
Paul, is that the cube?
Yeah.
They come in many different shapes, but they're squishy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the cube. It was some flashy things, which we had to put away because that caused issues for Maddie. So we had to hide the flashy thing. And then what else was
We
there?
had a couple poppets.
Yeah.
The thinking putty that you have.
Yep. Oh, and I have, so this is a keychain, and one side has just smooth pattern and the other side we made bumpy. And I'm totally on board as long as it doesn't make noise. I was at a conference. Go ahead.
Sorry, it's funny. I say that when fidgets were invented, but before that, how many people do you know that rattle their change in their pocket? Especially some men. They rattle or click pens. Oh my gosh, I've broken more pens in my life. But
That's a good one.
It's almost a mean thing that certain noises can set us off, yet certain noises can, like created by ourselves, like rattling change in your pocket, can be soothing.
Yeah.
But not to the person next to you who wants to is ready to take your head off and rattling your key change.
My dad used to do one, now that I reflect, and I would see and he would do this. And I find myself, like if I'm driving, I'm always tapping on the steering wheel, or I do certain hand motions, and then I catch myself and I can see my dad's hands. Now, for context, my dad died when I was 20, so I haven't seen his hands in 35 years. But when he was in a conversation, and especially if it was getting whatever, I remember this, like, so this is, if you can't see, this is my fingers slapping onto each other. I think it's thinking about that as we develop and learn more about how we show up in the world. It's what do we need? Does our support supersede creating discomfort in others, right? So we need to be flexible around what that looks like. And I have since sent Paul multiple 3D printing options that are not click because I get it and I support it, but we also need to be aware of what's going on around us. So would you say that that's changed as you've gotten to know how you show up neurodivergently, like what support you need or what tools work for you or what have you? And anybody can answer. And has asking for help made a difference?
I think so. And I think understanding that, I think also just understanding that even like how sometimes it could look different day to day. And I think
that's important.
Like different, like if I ate enough, sleep, all these different factors. And like I remember one day I went to Employment Works and I said to Elizabeth, I'm a little more fidgety than normal.
I'm a little more what?
Remember I was like a little bit more fidgety, like needs to move around more.
You were a bit bouncy.
Yeah.
I just nodded and went,
And
all right.
and then Elizabeth's like, "What do you need?" Okay, but and I'm like, "I mean, I have to leave the room a couple more times, go like pace the hallway." And my fidget toys were on display, and it's just again having that, being able to actually feel safe enough to articulate that to someone, and to also, I think it's feeling safe with the other person, but also feeling safe within yourself,
That's huge.
which is so hard. And it's an everyday, it's not a decision, but it's like,
It is. That's a really good word.
yeah, I think, yeah, like every day you make the choice to, like when I'm like, I have a fidget more today, I'm playing with my fidget toy right now, and it's just, I think knowing yourself and being committed to knowing yourself.
Well, that's huge.
And so that's what I think I've really learned last year going into this year, is what does that actually look like for me, and what do I need on a day-to-day basis, and how can I think I can shout out my partner real quick because he's
Yeah.
really helped me with that. Like, I sometimes get frustrated at myself for not doing some things or acting a certain way, and he's like, "You're neurodivergent. You're gonna act neurodivergent. You're gonna be neurodivergent." And when he said that, I was like, I kind of knew that before, but to have someone else say it that's outside of myself, but also so close to me, was just like, huh. Like, and again, we want others to give us grace, and to, but we have to give that to ourselves as well.
100%.
And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. But just,
But that leads us. So this morning when Paul shared his story,
mhm.
part of that was Paul has an incredible wife, Colleen, and I think she's the biscuit, because she's incredibly supportive, but she is constructively direct. When you struggle with subtleties, and ADHD and autism share this trait, I struggle with subtleties. Telling me that somebody used to tell me, "Oh, I need to take a nap," and I'm like, "Oh, so go take a nap." I was supposed to understand that meant something entirely different, and I'm like, "Okay, don't."
That's not what you said.
Yeah. If you need to take a nap, take a nap. If it means something else, tell me what it means, because I am not going to figure out that take a nap means something else. I'm not that bright. Like, just don't do that. So, Paul, what would you say around like support and how that's changed or grown, or grace, or whatever you would like to? Because you've been great about asking questions, and you've been great about asking for help. And I've been really impressed with how you've kind of dived into using what we do to figure out Paul.
It's a bit of a radical acceptance for me. And it's a bit of a there's a couple of things. It's a allowing myself to do those things like that I need.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also learning how to change the things, or learn the tools to deal with the things that negatively affect myself and the people around me. So, for instance, fidget thing. Instead of the things like, I will clench one side of my jaw, then the other, then the other, then the other, then the other, and I go back and forth, and I do it all the time. I just thought that was kind of a normal thing for people, that they do that, or I drum my fingers, and I have all these different patterns that I do.
It's not abnormal. It's not typical.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I see. I'm still learning my terminology and what's acceptable to say.
It's not acceptable. It's just kinder. Sorry. We've only got 3 minutes left. I can't change your whole thing.
All right. So allowing myself to use fidgets because they help me regulate certain things or focus and things like that. But then I jokingly said I've got emotional dysregulation, a SORAS card, right? Those are the things that, okay, I can't just fly off the handle when things don't go my way, when plans change and I didn't want them to change. And so I'm going to go, rage clean or throw some things around and make everybody else's life miserable. No, that's something that I need to work on. That's something that my neurodivergence is definitely a crutch for me. Like that's something that can negatively affect my life and the life of those around me. So those are tools that I need to learn some tools to not just to not accept that behavior, but learn how to work on that behavior, because that's not healthy. But a fidget or something like that is helpful, right? Because of the way my brain works. So there's a lot. I think that's where I've really been working on lately, is trying to figure out, okay, what things are healthy and what things are not healthy that I really need to focus on.
I love that focus. So the reason I jumped in there is because when we use abnormal versus normal and whatever, it starts to become a bit of shaming language, and society, unfortunately, has taught us to use those words. And so constructively, and I do this with everybody, not just Paul, is I invite you to consider using typical versus atypical, because it's not abnormal to do. Everybody's got something, right? I am similarly tempered, so I have worked really hard on asking myself, is this the hill I want to die on? Mm-hmm. Is it really that important? Because somebody who is incredibly impatient, grew up very judgmental, has challenges around filtering and whatever, married somebody who is profoundly dyslexic, and I place a huge amount of importance on people's ability to read and process and how they show up and whatever. And I made it an issue when it didn't need to be an issue. And I needed to learn that my desire to be right or my desire to be whatever never supersedes somebody else's right to live their life how they need to. So we'll wrap up with that, because one of the things we're going to be discussing in future podcasts is around personal accountability and responsibility, that discovering that you're neurodivergent is not an excuse to be an a-hole. And that's a huge one that we're jumping into. And if Maddie were on here, they would be hell's yes nodding. Discovering you're neurodivergent is a reason to give yourself grace. It is a reason to incorporate kindness into your day. It is a reason to grow in understanding and support. It is never an excuse to be a turd burglar. And we're going to jump into that because we've all had moments where, that personality asserts itself. Turd. I'll leave Paul to process that for a second. We could say turd blossom, and then it's a Guardians of the Galaxy reference, and then that might make more sense. But when I stop recording, I'll explain to you the turd burglar. It's not great. It's not a good one. So thank you for joining us today, folks. Our goal today was to talk about, what it means to be neurodivergent, what we've learned as we've discovered what that means for us, to remind folks that every, experience being neurodivergent is individual. And what we talk about here, I hope it helps. It's never to judge. It's never to say you have to be this way. We've all grown up being told how we should be. Mm-hmm. We're kind of at a level in life where we're at F it. And to build on a conversation that Sydney and I had this week, it's just just be kind. Mm-hmm. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Be kind to knowledge. Just be kind. So next week,
can I close with something?
Absolutely.
Lacoste is the company name.
I knew you were.
I thought it's the line of clothing that had the alligator on it.
You're outing yourself.
So I was right.
All I'm saying, Mr. Coleman, is that you just outed yourself and I didn't have to do anything. And if you know, you know.
My job.
All right. Thank you for joining the Riff Raff, folks. We are your team of pirates that are here to traverse the seas of neurodivergence and hopefully drop some knowledge bombs and some F-bombs and some kindness bombs. And we will talk to you soon. I'm going to say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.